Hi, it's John, and welcome to the channel 5:21 a.m. It is Saturday, April the 19th, with the big blue mug of coffee, of course. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend. And just a reminder to click on subscribe. I would appreciate that. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up as well. It helps out the channel. Well, I'd like to talk to you if you're one of the brain dead today. Now, I know a lot of you aren't. You come here, you think a lot like me. We are enlightened. We are not brain dead people, but perhaps you are brain dead and you're about to vote for Mark Carney. Well, this video is for you, and you will become enlightened and will no longer be brain dead after this video. Okay. So I find it fascinating that after a leadership campaign for the Liberals, after the coronation of Mark Carney as the Prime Minister, and after about 20 days of an election campaign, people still do not know who this man is and what an absolute monster he is and how dangerous Mark Carney is. Now, I know that the talking heads in the legacy media would call me a rage farmer. That's how they referred to people like Rebel News and Juno News and those people over the last couple of days because they outworked them after the French debate the other night. But this is not rage farming. This is the truth. And you're going to learn a little bit about Mark Carney here. But we do not know much about him at all. And the reason people don't know about him is because they are brain dead. And they are not willing to understand who this man is. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up today is because of this article right here, which is in PJ Media. And this one up yesterday. Is Canada brain dead? Now, I'm not going to read this whole article to you, written by David Solway, but I will put a link in the description so you can read the whole thing. But I will read a significant amount of this with some videos of Mark Carney and my Premier Danielle Smith talking a little bit about him as well. As we survey the political landscape today, it's hard to escape the conclusion that a plague of mental catalepsy has swept the globe. Catalepsy means you're in a bit of a trance, okay? One recalls the old multi-attributed adage, whom the gods would destroy, they first make mad. And doesn't that describe Mark Carney's campaign of fear right now? Whom the gods would destroy, they first make mad. Clearly, being rendered stupid would be just as effective. Now, he goes on here to talk about the European Union, the UK, Ireland, France, Germany. He talks about the United States as well. But then he gets down to talking about Canada. So let's read a little bit here. Canada generally is far more unified in its dereliction than the US. It furnishes a unique example in which both an intellectually vacuous political cadre and a comatose electorate operate in approximately sibling tandem to pulverize the economy, enact oppressive articles of legislation, and plunge a once free and prosperous country into a debt-ridden, unproductive, ESG-indentured third world crater. The dominant political clade and the overwhelmingly left voting electorate are twin aspects of the same moral and intellectual depravity. The politicians are brain dead because they believe social and economic ruin is a planetary advantage. The people are brain dead, at any rate, at least 2/3 or more of the voting public, since they are in general agreement with their betters and are just too stupid or indifferent to do their homework. Now we get down to Mark Carney. The issue has come to a head with the accession of globalist banker and net zero fanatic Mark Carney to the Prime Minister's office, and the alarming possibility that the Liberal Party, which enjoyed 3 successive terms in which to devastate the country, is poised to win yet a 4th to complete the job. Carney, who is far more crackerjack and dangerous than his hapless puppet Justin Trudeau, is just the man to make it happen. As Action for Canada reminds us, Canadians don't seem to care that Carney is an unrepentant globalist, a member of an oligarchic class that has been contriving to create a dystopian future through fear-mongering, misinformation, unscientific data, and manipulation. Climate change must be fought, goes the mantra, even if it means the deindustrialization and impoverishment of the market-dominated economy. The Carney-esque project entails measures such as the 6-year UN WEF plan to reduce. Now, the brain dead who are watching this, who haven't caught on yet, are now just saying that the UN WEF plan to reduce is just a conspiracy theory. Well, there is a link here, and it is this right here, and here it goes to this link right here. Final report, Financial Institution Net Zero Transition Plans, November 2022. And this is courtesy of GFANZ. Now, this is the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero. And who leads up that organization? Michael Bloomberg, former mayor of New York City, former Republican. Mark Carney, the current prime minister of this country, and Mary Shapiro, all involved with this organization, which has the sole purpose of stopping investment in the oil and gas industry and net zero. That's what they are about in a very big way. Now, you probably don't know about this if you're one of the brain dead. We'll get back to the article in just a moment. But my Premier, Danielle Smith, is very clear on what Mark Carney is about and what will happen if he becomes the Prime Minister. Watch this.
Eco-extremist former Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault is still in cabinet. But that shouldn't surprise any of us, given that the new Prime Minister is a whole new level of climate zealot and eco-extremist. From his decades-long push for net zero banking that sought to make it impossible for banks to invest in oil and gas, to his promise now to massively increase carbon taxes on our industry, make no mistake, he wants to eviscerate our oil and gas industry. It's right in his book. In Canada, our national identity, unity, our freedom, and our future are at a monumental crossroads. It is likely that soon Canadians will be headed to the ballot box to be able to vote in the most pivotal federal election that we have had in our lifetimes.
This document is 109 pages of gobbledygook. It's like a Ponzi scheme for the complete control of business, industry, banking when it comes to net zero. And you will abide by these rules or you will be punished. Now, you may think, if you're one of the brain dead, I'm exaggerating. Here is Mark Carney in his own words.
Society is putting tremendous value on achieving net zero. So the companies and those who invest in them and lend to them, who are part of the solution, will be rewarded. But those who are lagging behind and are still part of the problem will be punished.
Companies that don't adapt, including companies in the financial system, will go bankrupt without question.
So let's get back to our PJ Media article. We'll continue with that last sentence. The Carney-esque project entails measures such as the 6-year UN WEF plan to reduce annual meat consumption from 16 kilograms of meat to 0, annual dairy, milk from 90 kilograms of milk to 0, number of clothing purchases per year from 8 items and then down to 3 items, car ownership from 190 vehicles per 1,000 people down to 0 vehicles. That is the future that Carney is planning for Canada, which must reduce its comparatively minuscule emissions to 0, even at the expense of its prosperity and possibly of its survival as a viable country. The problem is that Canada's sacrifice on the altar of Gaia would yield no demonstrable result. But Carney has been given a free ride. People are impressed by his resume, a CV apparently confected to dazzle a dull-witted and unsuspecting public with red ribbon appointments, accomplishments, and awards. Nigel Hannaford at the Western Standard interviews an elderly female Carney voter who bears eloquent witness to this form of cognitive deficiency. "I like Carney," she enthuses. "He has a good resume, you know. He was a banker." Hannaford responds by asking her, how do you feel about the fact that he wants to choke our oil industry, or that as a professed church-going Catholic, he won't condemn abortion, that he wants to bring back Online Harms Act? He's in thick with people who don't like people having too much freedom to travel or eat beef. He's all about making you use less electricity by making it more expensive. Her typically Canadian reply was about as predictable as Carney's election appears to be. "I wouldn't know about any of that, but you know, he seems steady, makes me feel safe. He's not going to change things. It boggles the mind." Such laziness and shallowness are common human properties, of course, but in Canada they are ubiquitous. The real pandemic. Any sentient and reasonably informed citizen will know that Mark Carney and the Liberal Party portend economic desolation and diminished freedom of speech and actions for all Canadians. Irrespective of whom they voted for, it is, in effect, his plan for the West in large, but Canada is his chosen petri dish. And finally, despite the prognosis, all may not be lost. Perhaps a deus ex machina may appear as the last moment to defy the polls. After all, we have MAGA-like people among us, as well as younger folk who know they have been handed a raw deal, those who represent whatever hope may be waiting at the bottom of Pandora's box. But the fact remains that Canada is one of those countries in which the majority of the electorate and the greater part of the political estate are equally brain dead, which is why its future has become entirely problematic. It was different once, but Canada has changed. Barring the unforeseen, it is now a place where the mind goes to die. This is where we are. We do not know, or at least people don't know who Mark Carney truly is. I do. If you follow this channel, you probably do as well, but there's far too many people in Canada who are brain dead. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate it. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, and I'll see you in the next one.